Cakewalk by Bandlab has gained a lot of new features recently, and I'm here to tell you all about them. Get your fingers ready. Hi folks, I'm Mike, and I hope you're well. So Cakewalk around about a month ago gained quite a few new features. I'm going to concentrate on 3 of them for you today in this video. Those being a new module for the Pro channel, a new way to handle tempo changes in Cakewalk, and also much more integration with Bandlab. Let's get started off with the PC2A module for the Pro channel. So I want to add some compression to my main vocal track in this project I've got open here. That's the first track here in blue. So I'll go up to where it says Pro Channel, click on that little arrow next to it to open up the Pro Channel. Then I'm going to right click in this blank area here and go to Insert Module. And now there's a new module available to us now. That's the PC2A Leveler. This is based on a very famous leveling amplifier, the LA2A. And the interesting thing about an LA2A is it only really has a couple of controls that we're at all interested in most of the time. Those are the gain and the peak reduction. Now the gain in itself is really just an output level, so it doesn't change the compression at all. It just changes the final volume that's coming out after this module. So it's really with the peak reduction control where all the action is. The higher we push this, it's like lowering the threshold value. So in other words, we will get more compression, or we'll get not so much more compression, but the compression will happen at a lower level the more we push this up. So if I play the track now, you'll see things start to happen with the needle, and as I push this up, you'll see there's lots and lots of compression happening there. As I pull it down, there's less and less. With these types of leveling amplifiers or compressors, there's no control over the ratio or the attack and release times. The ratio is fixed at around about 3:1, and the attack and release times depend upon the signal it's receiving. So it's variable, but within sort of a margin. Now, the only other controls that we really have is to switch it from being compression to a limiter. So it just does a lot more compression, almost becoming a limiter there. Some control over the metering here. So it's set to gain reduction at the moment. So that was showing us when we were getting gain reduction with the compression, but there's a few other settings there. And then we have this control over here, the R37 control. I don't use this much, but this gives us the ability to have more gain reduction on the higher frequencies. Okay, so there's a little control to do that there. So the thing about the LA2A, or in this case the PC2A module, is that it's not suitable for everything. It's pretty good for sort of vocals, acoustic guitars are the things I use it for mostly. But if you really want a lot of control over attack and release, things like that, you may want to use another module in here. I'll right click again, go to Insert Module, and that is something like the PC76. That would be another alternative for some sort of classic compression, but much finer control over what you're doing. So definitely this is a great one to try out on vocals if you want to try some really natural sounding compression on your vocals. And as I say, I use it on acoustic guitar as well. It's really good on that. So thank you so much to Bandlab for adding a new module to the Pro channel. Very, very welcome indeed. Let's have some more, please. So we've got some new ways to change tempo in Cakewalk now. I've got this project open here. I'm just going to press I on the keyboard so that I can make sure I'm seeing the inspector at the side. And at the top of the inspector, I can see this kind of metronome icon. This is to show the tempo inspector. So I'll click on that. We can see the tempo inspector there. We can see just one tempo change in the song right at the beginning there to 63 BPM. Now we'll come back to this area over here in a moment. But first of all, I want to show you the new tempo track. So I'll go up to View here and then click on Tempo Track Show Hide. That opens up the new tempo track. I can make it bigger by dragging out the bottom of it like so. And then there's a few different ways we can add in new tempos. I could just go in like so and use changes to a pencil icon over the line there. Just click on that somewhere and then just drag it around to a desired tempo. That's one way that I could do it. The other way is I could insert a tap tempo. So I'll just go up to the 5th bar up here and I'll calculate my tempo with the tap tempo. So I'll click on this button here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and just do that a few times so that it calculates the tempo for me. Really handy there. And I'll just click on that plus button and it adds that new tempo at that point. Now it's done a sudden jump there, you can see, from 78 up to 90 there. We can change that in a couple of different ways. One of the ways that we can do it is over here in the tempo inspector. So if we go to the tempo before it changes from 78 to 90, you'll see that there's this icon at the side there. If I click on that, we get a few different options. So I could do linear, you can see it change to linear over there, or I could do fast, which changes it to a fast curve or a slow curve. Now there's some other ways that I can do that. Well, there's another way that we can do it, and that's to right click on the line there. So we'll hover over the line, right click, and we can see those options there as well. So I'll change that to linear like so, and then let's add another one with the pencil here. I'll just drag it down like so, out of view. You can see that pop into view there, and I'll do another really extreme one which goes all the way up here. There's a reason for this. You can see that that's adjusted so that everything can be seen in view, but if you wanted to do minor adjustments over here, you may want to zoom in. So one way that you can do that is just to hover over this area here and then left click, and then you can sort of change the zoom level there. And then if you right click, you can move that up and down to change to where you want to move it to. Okay, double click on that area and it'll just make sure that everything is fit inside the available area there. Okay, so those are the different ways that you can change the tempo now in Cakewalk by Bandlab. Oh, by the way, are you finding this video useful? If you are, go ahead and hit the like button for me. Do it right away so that you don't forget. If you're not finding this video useful, or maybe you just don't like me, sad face, make sure you hit the dislike button twice. And if you do like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notified about my other videos. Now, back to this video. So who put the Bandlab in Cakewalk by Bandlab? Well, the answer to that is Bandlab Technologies. They're a company who owns many different music-related brands, but the one that we're really interested in is Bandlab. Bandlab is a social music platform where you can create music online and collaborate with others as well. That's the social part. Now, you're already a member because you had to sign up for free in order to get Cakewalk. Now, what do I mean by create music online? Well, they've got features on there much like any other DAW. You can record using virtual instruments. You can record audio as well in a multi-track fashion. You can use hardware like MIDI keyboards and record with your regular audio gear as well. All very cool, all very collaborative, good stuff. But up until now, it hasn't been very integrated with Cakewalk, but that's all changed with this release. We'll talk about that later, but first of all, I'm going to give you a quick overview of Bandlab itself with my quick trial this morning. So as well as being able to record on the Bandlab web page on your computer, you can also download the Bandlab app for your smart device, either iOS or Android, and you can record there, and the project's available wherever you're using it. Now, I decided to do a little recording, just a verse of a song this morning at my dining room table using my iPad. Now, I plugged in my Arturia KeyStep 37 keyboard for the MIDI part of it. That's just so I could get velocity sensitive performances, but you don't have to have something like that. You could just use the on-screen input devices in the actual app itself. Again, for the audio, I plugged in my IK Multimedia iRig Pre-HD so that I could plug in a condenser microphone and get better quality. But again, you don't have to do that. You could just use the onboard microphone on your device. Obviously, the quality is not going to be anywhere near as good, but it may be fine just to record quick ideas and things. Now, of course, because I recorded it on my iPad, but I was signed into the Bandlab app, it was also available on the web page again, and that's where I'm going to view it now. So let's take a look. Here is my little short project. You can see here that I've got some virtual instruments at the top. The pop rock is the drums there, and I've also got a bass there. And if I double click there, you'll see something very similar to Cakewalk itself, where we have this piano roll down the bottom here with all of the sort of MIDI notes and things which we can edit. Then for the audio, very similar to Cakewalk again, we've got 3 tracks here, a guitar left and right, and also a vocal. And we can see those waveforms appearing down there. As well as that, we've got some effects as well. So on the vocal, I've got some effects. I did a little bit of EQ and reverb and stuff like that as well. So we can do all of the regular things that we can do in a DAW, but I really think for finishing off, you'd want to import it into something like Cakewalk to really put in those final touches and look at things in detail. So it's that we're going to look at next. So here we are in a blank project in Cakewalk. I'm going to go up to the File menu here and then go down to Browse Bandlab Projects. I click on that, it brings up this window, and this shows my current Bandlab projects. Now the one I recorded this morning to test this out is called Superman here, and I'll just go through some of the options that we've got available in terms of loading this into Cakewalk. So first of all, there's different revisions recorded on Bandlab when you make changes. So I can select a revision over here. Okay, there's only 5 different ones there, and I'll just go for the most recent one, but you could select different ones there. The next thing I'm interested in is the download settings, so I'll click on that. Now you can see I've got 2 selected there, track regions and track mixdown. Now the way I guess I would describe these is track regions is the raw material of a track, and track mixdown is the end result. What do I mean by that? Well, in terms of virtual instruments, track regions is like the MIDI. Okay, the MIDI behind the virtual instruments, just the notes you played, what have you. Whereas track mixdown is the sound that that virtual instrument made in Bandlab. Remember, those virtual instruments in Bandlab are not available to us in Cakewalk. So we do want the sound that was produced by those virtual instruments. So that's what it means in terms of virtual instruments. In terms of audio, track regions is like the original recording of the audio, completely dry, whereas track mixdown is the audio after things like the effects were applied to it. So that's what those two mean. The next thing down would be project mixdown, which is just a stereo file of like a mixdown of the project as it was on Bandlab, and then you can choose to bring in empty tracks or not. So I'll just leave it with those 2 selections, and I'll click on load. Now, depending on the size of the project and your internet connection, it will depend how long it takes now to do that. It's been reasonably quick for me here. It's just doing the last few bits and pieces, and there we have it. It's loaded in that verse. Now you'll notice that some of these are already muted. So those are those track regions. They're the raw material. So in terms of the top 2 here, if we expand them, you can see that the top one is just the MIDI information. Now I could go ahead and assign that to a virtual instrument in Cakewalk if I wanted to, and then I could change the sound of those drums and even edit the MIDI here. Or I can just go ahead and you can see on the second track, use the actual audio from the virtual instrument as it was in Bandlab. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's the same for the 2 virtual instruments I did, the drums and the bass guitar there. Then, as I said, for the acoustic guitar and vocals, we'll go down to the 2 vocal tracks here. First of all, we've got the original vocals, as you can see them there just as they were recorded, and then we've got the stems of the vocals with the different effects applied as well. So that's what all the tracks are. They're ready now, available for me to mix and do whatever I want to in Cakewalk to give it the finishing touches, and that's how you do that. Now you can do these things in reverse, so you can create a project in Cakewalk and then actually send it to Bandlab and use it there. Let's take a look and see how we do that. So here's an interesting one. I used this project for a drum tutorial I made for you guys the other day for the SI drum kit in Cakewalk. There's no actual audio data in this project. I've only got the MIDI data up here, and it's triggering all of these different instances here of the SI drum kit. But there's a drum for each sort of virtual instance there that I've got of the drum kit, or virtual instrument I should say. And that MIDI is triggering all of it. So I've got no actual audio recorded. So what I'm going to do is go up to File and then say Publish to Bandlab. I can give it a name there, whatever I want to give it there. And then in my upload settings, I'm just going to upload the audio track. So that's the sound which is made by all these different virtual drum instruments, if you like. Now, I've actually done it already, so I don't waste you guys' time, I would click Upload and then that would be done. And then when I go over to Bandlab, you can see there the actual audio of the drums after they've been triggered by the MIDI. And I didn't actually bother importing the MIDI here or exporting the MIDI. I could have done, and then I could have applied it to a virtual instrument in Bandlab. But on this occasion, I thought it'd be nice to have the SI drum kit from Cakewalk available to me in terms of its sound in a Bandlab project. So which of these 3 features is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you've got any questions at all, please do ask and I'll try my very best to help you out. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's something I probably don't say enough. I really do appreciate all of the support I get from the Cakewalk community. You folks are absolutely awesome and you just make this whole experience a lot of fun for me. Now, do check in the description for my link to patreon.com, where for as little as $1 per month you can help me help you by making more videos like this. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.